Hi folks, in this video I'm going to show you how, or explain how I made this clicker's knife or leather cutter's knife. As you can see, this one's made from nickel silver 1/4" square bar, and the piece of tube at the back there is 0.66 of an inch. It's in inches because this is K&S tubing from Chicago, which is this tube squashed so as it slides over there, which you'll see in a minute. So the blade is from some old high-speed steel hacksaw blades that I have, and that measures in thickness. The thickness doesn't really matter, but I'll tell you what the thickness is in mils. It's a 1.3 mil thick blade, and I've cut it down so that the blade is 10 mils wide, 10 mils deep I should say. Now, to make this the actual frame itself, what you do, I'll take it to pieces for you, and you just do that by sliding that till it goes slack, push the blade over to one side and it'll collapse, and you take off the metal tube, then the blade will come straight out at the front. And to make this piece, you use, in the lathe, as you can see in the lathe there, I have 11mm bar, and what I do to get it to have a nice tight curve, heat it up with the Bunsen burner or MAP gas and bend it round that mandrel nice and tight, so that you get it touching at the back there, so it's springing together. Now, to make the rest of it, it's quite simple. What I do, I use a Dremel tool, and I use two of these very thin brown, I think they're for cutting diamond or something like that, I'm not quite sure, they're quite brittle. Two of those together to cut into the front curve, as you'll see here, a groove. So that Dremel tool will cut the exact width for my blade basically. If you've got a thinner blade, you just use a different wheel, but that's how I've done it. And I've ground through just kept grinding through further and further through until it was the correct width inside the inner gap there, so the blade would actually fit in, and it's quite a tight fit. So you slide that together, shove the blade to one side and let the whole thing collapse. So you see, it's down the one side at the moment, so you let the whole thing collapse, bring the blade right down to where you want it, and then spread those apart so the blade's in the middle, and then you can fine tune it like that. To get the brass tube over, collapse it again, slide it on, open the unit back out again so as it's either end of so the blade's set in the centre like that, and then to lock the blade in position you just slide that brass ring to the top there where it's tight. You might have to play with ovaling that brass tube, but once that's in, it's in there for good. So basically that's how to make the ultimate leathercraft knife. All you need is a gas torch and a Dremel tool, and an old high-speed steel hacksaw blade. You can get these similar ones on the internet for about €60, and this thing here literally cost me about £2.50 to make. So another huge saving. So again, K&S tubing of Chicago, the model tubing, precision tubing, and that one is 0.66 of an inch, which actually just worked for mine. And again, 10 mil deep blade, double slot, double wheels in the front to put the slot into the middle so the blade can slide through, and there you have the ultimate leather craft knife. I've sharpened it over 1 inch, the actual cutting edge, and the angle, I'm not quite sure what the angle is, but it wants to be a fairly steep angle, something like probably 12 degrees or 10 to 12 to 15 degrees. It's not really critical, but so as you get that really ultra uber fine point on the front, and that's the ultimate leather knife. I've actually grown from my earlier version. That's a full size width blade, and you can see that that's had a fair bit of use. It's got a nice curve in it now, but that still works nicely. But you can't get right to the front. You want your fingers as close to the front as you can get, which you can with this, because your finger and thumb fit into the groove at the back, and it's very comfortable to hold. It's got a nice broad back on it, so that you're not pushing down onto a blade which hurts your fingers, and you're right up to the workpiece, so you've got maximum manoeuvrability, and they work really well, these. That's what I would continue from now on. I transitioned from the bog standard oldie worldy skiving cutting out knife to this, and this is far superior for cutting out patterns in paper, because the point's so fine you can see what you're doing. So there's another money saving exercise. I think you should be able to follow those instructions without me showing you. I can't actually show you because I've run out of gas. I mean, it literally takes two or 3 minutes to bend that, another 5 minutes to grind the groove into the front, and that's about it. It's a really simple thing to make. I'll close in the front there so you can see the blade's trapped between. But when you do the initial bending, make sure that these ends touch each other, so you have to spring it apart. I mean, that nearly holds the blade on its own, but the brass tube makes all the difference. You can slide it forward, adjust it, and slide it back again, just a nip, and it's solid. So hope that's helped people maybe have a go at making their own. Like I say, you can use stainless steel, brass, this nickel, silver, anything you like, as long as it's 1/4 inch square. That gives you enough thickness to get that groove in the front where the blade comes in between. So you've got a very narrow profile, and it fits the fingers wonderfully. You can use it in different ways. You can use it that way, or you can use it that way, and it also works well going in reverse as well. So that's it really. So thank you all for looking once again. Bye for now.